Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Steve Taylor Community Connection, and such a privilege that we get to do this and bring in wonderful people in our community, making a difference every day. This is truly a special day for me because we bring in a gentleman that year after year after year after year, he is lifting young people in our community, truly making a difference, and that's Father Rose, the president of St. Francis. Father, such an honor to have you here.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Great to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we just were chatting in the hall. Might as well put it on air. I had asked you this question. Do you get as excited each year when the new school year starts and you have a new crop of freshmen? And how is that for you?
Certainly for a church-based school, your parish looks the same every year, but a school, and it's true for public schools as well, right? Now I'm a public school product, but it's a different animal every year.
Right.
The character of the school changes. So yeah, I get excited every year because, it's almost a full quarter of the school are new people, in terms of the students.
The history of St. Francis in sports is phenomenal. You guys great in hockey and water polo and swimming. I mean, swimming, unbelievable. But on baseball, same. Basketball, you got a great basketball coach. He's a good man and doing great things. Football has been legendary in this town in the 60s and in the 70s and state championships, and then it was a bit of a down cycle. And I think you're pretty excited about the new guy. Tell us a little bit about your new football coach and what his name is.
Josh Linke. Josh coached with Dan Chipka when Dan had our program for so many years, and Dan took us from literally the fully defeated season to right into the playoffs, and Josh was his first offensive coordinator. So we know Josh. Josh knows us, and we're so excited to have him in the building. He just hit the ground sprinting. And my bedroom, because our house is attached to the school, I can hear every practice and all the camp, and the noise is up, the energy is up, the level is up, and you talk to the other coaches. I mean, he's doing everything we knew he would, immediately. How that translates into the wins and losses that's why you play the games. You can't play them on paper. So, but he's just a man of integrity, and we're really excited to have him.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit for you, Father, and he'll do wonderful things. I knew Dan very well, and he did wonderful things for you. I think it's, first of all, football, to change up a little bit of a paradigm, it's a process in football. It just usually doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, but to show the gains that you will this year, it brings excitement into the building. There's something about the football season. Isn't it so?
It's true. A lot of times people say, well, this is a football school. I go, every school is a football school. And,
Right.
and in part, it's because it's the first big sport of the school year.
Right.
And it has such a small season, right?
Yeah.
So I think, and it hits the end of the week. Like, it's just kind of perfect for
It
a school.
is.
It's the year's kicking off Friday night or Saturday.
Friday night lights, Father. I mean,
absolutely.
there's something about Midwest going to a game Friday night, nothing better. Tailgate a little bit, root your team on. And,
absolutely.
Well, let's do some school biz, Father.
Sure.
You have so many wonderful programs going on at St. Francis, and you have a reading program that you wanted to mention. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so this started several years ago. We have a literacy initiative that's really about community connection. Again, so for me, when I became president, this is my 10th year as president, it goes so fast. I wanted us to think of how we're a resource in the community. What we do inside the walls is for our guys, but there's so many things we do that can be a benefit to the community. And so as we looked at a literacy initiative, in part that was internal, making sure everyone was prepared and ready to go in the school. But then we started talking to Toledo Lucas County Public Library, and they're looking at the reality of reading comprehension in both fourth grade, where they do those classic tests.
Yes.
And so we said, how can we help with that? And so we created what's called Reading Buddies along with the library. So they're a partner with us, and we've been doing it for 5 years now. So 311 young readers working with 40 of our guys in the summer, right? And so trying to teach them that reading's fun, and picking books that are relevant to them. So maybe the kids are matched up because they both love soccer. Well, here's some books to look at in soccer. So you're just trying to ignite that passion around reading to make sure that they get it. So in addition to teaching them that skill, they're building connection and relationship, so that when those young readers come back to the library the next time, they're asking to see that same guy by name, right?
Right.
So it's been it's always the case. When you give, you get more. That's just how it works, isn't it? When you do service hours, when you donate in the community, I always feel like the big winner when I give up my time. And so I know our guys, like I said, about 40 of them this summer, that made that commitment to go in and read with and to read to young people, to invest in our community. I'm so grateful for Janice Schlachter is kind of heads up that program for us. and she's our director of marketing and communications. So I'm just so proud of the guys. I'm proud of that partnership, and we just want it to grow and grow. You know, and if other schools want to be a part of it, awesome, because
absolutely,
you know, all boats rise in that common tide.
100%, and they could contact you at St. Francis.
Yeah.
If other schools wanted the template or get involved or
Yeah,
that type
yeah.
of thing. Yeah, you know, and you said it so well, Father. Your guys that are helping the young kids, you learn something about yourself when you do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you really? I mean,
Always.
it's more that way than you
Yeah.
learn. Hey, I like this giving back.
Yeah.
And it means something to me, and it's much larger than, you know, your own little individual problems, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You just, it widens your perspective. Yeah. How you see others, how you care, all of it. Yeah.
And caring is such a, I think, one of the great things that, you know, schools do, and everybody's trying to do it, teaching young people to care, teaching young people to give service, you know, teaching young people to get involved. You know, we're not going to be around forever. It's going to be their deal, you know, like vote. I don't care who you vote for, but if you
Exercise your right.
if you don't think your vote matters, it does, and it's going to
absolutely.
affect your life, right? Get involved in your community. Give back to your community. So, all right, we covered the reading.
Yeah.
Now you've got something I was really interested in, this peer-to-peer
Oh yeah.
teaching. Talk about that.
So Teen Pep was created by ProMedica to again address a
What's
real
the acronym
concern.
for?
Peers educating peers.
Okay,
Teen
got it.
Pep. And so what they do is train up, you know, upperclassmen at schools to talk about those difficult topics that all are just better handled peer to peer. So stuff on mental health, stuff on sexting, teen dating violence, some really hot button topics. And we were the first private school to come in with them. I think we've been doing this since 2016, and we're still the only Catholic school that's come in with them on this. Because I think some people, these are delicate topics, but if we're not talking about them, our kids are being confronted with it. And
Absolutely.
so we got to get out in front of that. So, you know, mental health stuff, just in terms of how they feel about themselves, all that stuff around relationships, and then just cyber behavior, if you want, or social media, like how does one behave? And that gets into bullying and all those questions. But so when experts train up the students to then present to other students, basically the younger, our middle school grades.
Right.
And so this year we're expanding and we're going outside the building. To this point, we've been trained, and our kids teach our younger kids these tools and skill sets on how to behave and things to avoid, you know, and how to ask for help if you need it from a mental health standpoint, and particularly post-COVID, right? But now we're going outside the building, which again is always huge to me. How are we a resource? So we've trained these guys up, thanks to ProMedica and their partnerships. How do we go out now to some of the Catholic grade schools or public grade schools and, you know, and partner with them and say, we need young people to understand this. There is so much out there. And I don't enjoy people that, you know, doom and gloom it. Like, there's a lot of good about social media. It's connectivity.
Absolutely, Father. 100%.
And just, you know, maybe identifying a passion for you.
100%.
But how powerful to be educated by a peer on, ooh, careful here, you know, look for this thing here, or be looking for these, you know, signs or concerns about your friends. It's critical. So I'm really excited that, you know, we done it for a number of years in-house, and now we're turning out into the community to be at resource.
Father, that's a great program. It's so needed, and I totally agree with you. These are good things of connectivity and knowledge and information, and then you have to understand that there are other things you have to be aware of, right?
Yep.
I've always found that when peers teach peers, I thought that learning maybe was a little quicker and a little easier.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and particularly for sort of embarrassing topics or difficult topics.
Yeah, right.
Just to hear, and it's always more powerful. You know, if a kid says something in the hallway to another kid, and as an adult you correct it, they expect that. But if a peer goes, hey, we don't talk to each other that way.
We don't do that. We don't do that. That's not what we do at SF.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's culture, and
that is culture.
It wins.
You know, on the way out here, Father, you're just such a class act, you and Father O, for all these years, and you do it right, and you care for the kids. I was asked to speak next week at TPS with some of their teachers at a thing called Lunchroom Heroes, and the lunchroom is just a placeholder name.
Okay.
But the concept is this: as a teacher, if you see a young person sitting by themselves in a lunchroom, they're not connected to anybody, and maybe they're being picked on, or maybe you see them in the hallway and they're being picked on, or whatever, that as a teacher, you reach out and connect to them somehow.
Yeah.
Find out their interests, find out how the school is going for you, some type of connectivity, because that can make all the difference. And I know that you do that. Talk about your thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, as you tell that story, I think of one when I was first teaching in Michigan, that there was this young guy, freshman, and kind of heavy set, pimply, just kind of stereotypical.
Right.
And all these senior girls decided, we're going to be friends. You see him sitting alone.
Yeah.
And so, these are all the good-looking girls. So it was a stereotypical setup. And how I found out about this was they came to me laughing one lunch to tell me the whole story. I hadn't seen any of it. So they go see him on day one, and they're chatting him up, and he's very awkward. And they do it day 2, and on day 3, he picks up his head and says, could you not come to me at lunch anymore? Like, he was a super introvert.
Right.
And so lunch was his time to recharge.
Yeah.
And so they projected onto him that he was a loner and all these things because they were all bubbly extroverts.
Yeah,
and so we had this good laugh. And so I've always said to our students and anywhere I've been, don't project onto other people, but do what you said, which is to check in and make sure.
Are you okay?
Maybe they want to eat lunch alone. Maybe it's their time to recharge.
Yeah.
But I know that he appreciated that they came to him, to check in. But by day 3, he was exhausted of them.
Well, there's a way. I was so privileged at St. John's to teach with 4 or 5 gentlemen that it happened naturally for them. When you'd see a youngster, or maybe in football, they just weren't, make them feel part of what. Everybody wants to be part of something, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be alienated. This one youngster was a team manager for us in the football. Couldn't have weighed 90 pounds if you put rocks in his pockets. I mean, less than 90.
Right. Yeah.
Look, great kid, but just, so rail thin and small, and how guys can be, And so we used to do videos at the school to hype up do the morning news and whatever. So I'd have him on, and we called him Crusher, and he'd have a headband, and he'd do the arm things, and he'd talk, I'm Crusher, and he became a legend in the school, and so that's a little thing, but it became a thing for him to fit in. So anytime you can reach out to somebody and make them comfortable, I'll bet you do it with the new teachers. It's not easy to assimilate into a building, right?
Yep.
You're Joe Donut. You don't know where the water cooler is. You don't know
where the bathroom is.
You don't know where anything is. I'll bet you go out of your way to try and make those new folks, teachers, feel at home.
Well, and today was our new staff orientation. And you know what's funny? I taught in our school in Michigan for 12 years. I didn't get it until I came here.
Yeah.
Because that's when you went, oh my gosh, I forgot how it is to be new.
Yeah, it's intimidating.
And so then it became much more thoughtful about new students and new staff. We have an exchange student this year from Mexico, and I was talking to him yesterday, and I never thought about just how complicated that second language is until I had to do it when I studied in Bolivia.
Right.
And I was sleeping 9 hours a night because every sentence has to be built in your head.
Yeah.
And so he's nodding, you get it. Well, yeah, only though because I've been through it.
And you want to say the sentence right because you could,
you look silly.
You can say a lot of wrong things.
Oh boy, get in trouble.
Father, it's such an honor to have you on the Steve Taylor Community Connection, and I've known you for so many years. And Father, and what you're doing over on Bancroft is you're creating young men that are going to be great fathers, great parents. They're going to serve in their community. They're going to be successful. They get doing for others, and I don't think there's anything more important than that. So we applaud what you're doing, and you keep getting younger every year. The rest of us are aging, and you look younger.
I'm graying out pretty good.
You're the Dorian Gray of Bancroft Street. Every year you look younger to me.
Well,
but thank you for what you're doing and caring the way that you care.
Well, hey, and let me return that to you and Steve. I mean, there's not an organization to me that could say they're doing more than what Steve Taylor, his reinvestment back in this community. There are many that are doing that same heavy lift, but I'm just so grateful, for all you've done, for all Steve does, even making a program like this available to just let the community know. Lots of bad news out there, lots of sad news.
Yeah.
But if we don't stop and invest in telling good stories, then you start to believe that it's all bad and it's all dark.
And it's not.
And it's not.
And there's
thank you.
There's
thank
so
you
much
guys.
positive. Father, it was great having you here. Thank you. We'll do this again, Father. I
Happy
like
to
this.
do it.
All right. Thank you so much. Tom Coley, coach for Steve Taylor Community Connection.